Welcome back to the show.
Welcome back to the show.
And now, your hosts of the Card Subject to Change podcast, the For Frequency's Sake Tag Team Champions of the World, the Wizard CZ, and Never Wrong Nick Bull.
Good evening, everyone. Hello once again, and welcome to another exciting edition of the Card Subject to Change podcast, the podcast by the fan for the fan. Of course, we are powered by Lopez Pizza, built by Durham Remodeling, colored by Ryan Allison Tattoo, and protected by Jared Zook of Country Financial. We're the Card Subject to Change podcast. I'm your host, Never Wrong Nick Bull. I'd be remiss if I did not announce my tag team partner. We are the current co-tag team champions of the For Frequency's Sake network, with our next title defense to be determined. I know that's going to bother some people out there, especially those that sit in hot tubs with pizza rolls. But regardless, I digress. Little shout out there to our buddy Rob Kammerer, my co-partner, my co-host. He is the one. He is the only. He is the Wizard. CZ Wiz, how did this Thanksgiving holiday treat you, and how are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good. It was a pretty laid back, long weekend. Got to watch some wrestling, play a little video games. But yeah, it was good. How about yourself?
Can't complain. Anytime there's food, naps, and wrestling involved, in no particular order, you can sign me up for it. Had plenty of food, took plenty of naps, and of course, we're going to break down last night's action of Survivor Series War Games here in a little bit. That was the wrestling this weekend. I know TNA had a show Friday night, of course, outside of other regularly scheduled programming. So plenty of wrestling out there to catch if you wanted to. We're going to break down the Survivor Series. Wow, episode 160. Here we are, and we're glad you're with us. So happy you're with us here on the For Frequency Network. We are Card Subject to Change, podcast by the fan for the fan. And Wizard CZ, how do you want to kick this thing off? How did you want to start this show?
Wait, before we get into anything, you mentioned our next title defense to be determined. Whether you're in a hot tub full of pizza rolls or not, if Cody Rhodes hasn't defended his title since September 13th, I don't feel bad that we're not defending ours.
Is that the last time he defended it?
That is the last time, over 2 months ago.
I'm not one of those guys clamoring since he hasn't wrestled. I thought it was kind of cool they gave him a pay-per-view off.
I agree. I mean, I'm not upsetting or poo-pooing on that. It just, a lot of people bitched and complained about Roman Reigns not defending his title, and they blamed Roman, and now Cody's kind of fallen in the same boat. And I'm hearing people.
The Reigns aren't even close. Cody hasn't been a champ for 8 months.
You remember when there was a rule that you had to defend your title within every 30 days?
Oh, I remember that. Sure. I remember if you couldn't defend it, you had to forfeit it. I mean, Rhea Ripley had to forfeit her title earlier this year because she couldn't defend it. So, yeah, they need to revisit those rules about defending your title every so often. I agree. I'm not saying. But I'm telling you what, this pay-per-view did not need a Cody Rhodes match.
No,
in my opinion.
I don't think so at all. We'll get to letter grades towards the end of the show, but I'm excited to talk about all things Survivor Series War Games, and we might as well start.
We're kind of doing this. We're kind of doing this old school. We haven't talked to each other since the pay-per-view, so it's all going to be kind of new and fresh on here on the show. Yes. I watched it late last night. I know you watched it live. I did all I could to avoid spoilers, man. It's harder than you think in this modern age.
Were you able to?
Social media and everything. But I did a pretty good job of avoiding spoilers. I only saw one, and it didn't ruin the show for me. So, yeah, let's break down this show.
Let's do it. Let's just jump right in. I just want to, before we get into the actual match itself, I want to talk to you about what a crazy hodgepodge of people this women's War Games match was.
I will agree with you. My criticism of this match going into the show was it's thrown together. You know, the other one has a story, and it's going to be hard to replicate that story on the women's side. And you got names on the shelf like Charlotte and Becky Lynch who aren't around. You know, some other people are going to have to step up. Some other names you probably don't want to see in there. But it did seem like it was thrown together with a bunch of random people. But I'm telling you, during the match, I didn't even think about it. It didn't even matter to me because the match was that good. The action was that good. I love how they started the show. The women set the tone with the women's War Game match here at Survivor Series. I thought it was an excellent opening, an excellent match, and it was a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah. And did they ever set the tone? I mean, just to kind of touch a little bit more on the hodgepodge of people, you've got at least two people who have beef with each other, or at least did earlier in the year, in Bayley and Io Sky, and they're on the same team. But yeah, they were able to put their differences aside and come away with a really impressive showing. This, holy crap, this was a fantastic match. Good way to
much better than I thought it was going to be. I think that was because of my preconceived notion going in that I wasn't excited. As excited for this one as I was the men's match because how it seemed it was thrown together. But the 10 ladies they had in there all had their moment to shine, all stepped up in a big moment. And man, there was some impressive performances from this. I'm just going to go out and I'm just going to get out there and say it. This was Nia Jax's most entertaining match she's ever had. Aside from maybe the Ronda Rousey match she had when Alexa Bliss cashed in.
Okay. Wow, we're going old school today.
Regardless, I thought Nia Jax starting out this match was a big statement. She has definitely changed her physique and has dropped some pounds. And gave off to me the Yokozuna aura or vibe. And here's why.
Okay.
What she was doing in there, just tossing people around, you know, doing that Yokozuna leg drop. It looks devastating when she's doing it. She makes it look believable. She's so much bigger in stature than most of the other women on the roster. So it's impressive to watch her throw people around like a Bayley or throw people around like a Bianca Belair.
Yeah.
So I wanted to give my props to Nia before we broke down this match and how I thought she was amazing. I thought she was great. She looked like $1 million in this. And her starting off, I thought, really set the tone for this match. And she was one of the stronger figures throughout this match.
Would you say she was the MVP of the match, in your opinion?
You could say that. I mean, there were some other performances, but you could definitely throw her name in there and argue it for sure.
I mean, I don't know. It'd be hard to narrow down for me an MVP, but I've got to give props to Io Sky.
That's the other name that was kind of hanging out there, but go ahead.
So here's the thing. Io is known for putting a trash can over her head and diving off the top of the cage. She's done it 3 times now, I believe, after last night.
I think so.
But I have never seen her do a moonsault blind into 4 or 5 other people with a trash can on her head. That I'd be peeing myself. I'm just going to throw that out there. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's confidence in your workers and it's confidence in your craft. Io Sky is definitely the Empress of the Sky. She got a huge pop, I thought, when she came out. I think everybody was waiting for the big thing for her to do, and she did it. Tiffany Stratton also was had a moment to shine in this match.
Near cash-in, too.
I thought she was going to pin both women and take both belts. It's kind of what I was rooting for. When she was teasing that, like, pin them both, walk out with both. And we've never seen that before where we had a cash-in in a War Games match. And so, like, that was amplified a little bit. We kind of thought maybe we were going to get that. So that was going on.
Let me ask your opinion on that. We talked off air about possibly doing a kick out with around the fact that Tiffany may cash in during the War Games match.
Mhm.
If she had cashed in, how does that change the dynamic of the match overall? Because both her teammates are both champions on the women's side are her teammates.
Well, I think it would change it. I think it would change it drastically. There would be an upheaval. If I was Tiffany, I would leave the match. There's no need for me and B to be around anymore. And you would think that it going to 5-on-4 would give the other side the true advantage. I think that's how it would change the match, or that's how I would see it changing the match if Tiffany would have cashed in. Because if I was Tiffany, I'd get the heck out of there. There's no need for me to be there anymore.
Well, then
that's how I see it. That's how I see it, like changing the match.
I was curious if it would just then become a free-for-all for the title if she cashed in and with all those people in there. I mean, I don't think it would, but I could see them kind of stretching it to be, okay, she's making this for the title. Whoever gets the pin gets the belt.
And there's also that caveat where, okay, she's cashing in. She doesn't have to tag either one of the champions, does she? It's the next fall, right? Everybody's involved in that match, right? So she doesn't have to tag a champion. So she could have tagged the nearest person, the way I interpret it, and walk out of there as the new champion.
It would have been interesting. I'd love to see them pull the trigger on that someday and see just exactly how they play it. It would have been damned interesting, but I don't want to compare Tiffany to Damian Priest, because he teased a little bit in last year's War Games match about possibly cashing in. But when does Tiffany cash in at this point?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if we see it at Rumble.
And
I think
the reason I bring up Priest is because his
does it turn her face when she cashes in?
That's a good question.
Is she cashing on Nia? Does that turn her face, or does that turn Nia face?
That's a great.
There's going to be an obvious pop when she cashes in. People are going to finally be happy to see it. I don't know if they're going to side with Tiffany with just how Tiffany acts and treats the crowd. So I don't know. Maybe we see it at Rumble. We've never seen it cashed in during the Rumble. Maybe we see it during Rumble.
That would be interesting too. That would be fantastic. The reason I brought up Priest is because his run with that briefcase got a little stagnant towards the end until Mania, when he actually did cash in. I don't think Tiffany's is going the same way, but at the same point, there's not really a clear picture as to when she will cash that briefcase in.
I'll admit, Priest's thing did grow kind of stagnant, but the payoff was worth it.
Oh, I agree. I don't disagree at all. Because of the story between her and Nia, her run has not grown stagnant at all. But like I said, I don't know where this ends. I don't see a clear picture. Maybe it's after Mania. Maybe she waits until just before Money in the Bank next year.
Maybe it's when we least expect it.
Well, that's usually when it happens. I'd be ecstatic if she cashed in after a women's elimination chamber match a la Edge.
Okay.
I think that'd be a great way to tell the story too. But yeah,
what else do you have to say about this match?
I mean, everybody shined. There was not a dull moment. I'll even give Naomi her props. I'm not a big fan of hers. Her gimmick is too gimmicky for me, I guess is the best way to put it. But everybody had their shine in this match. I think it was well put together, and I loved every minute of it. I did too.
I thought it was a great tone to start the pay-per-view, and got the pay-per-view rolling right off the bat. So I loved it. I love this match.
Let me ask you one last thing before we move on. What are your thoughts on Candice LeRae being in this match?
On who? Candice LeRae?
Yes.
Very happy she was in the match. I mean, I thought when Indy Hartwell got fired or released that she was not going to be too far behind. So good for her to get some shine in this match.
Yes.
To be able to be a part of this, and hopefully it leads to more things for her. Otherwise, she was just kind of struggling to get on Raw.
Yeah, I'm glad that she was in the
is she on Raw or SmackDown?
She's on SmackDown right now.
There you go. Well, she struggles
to get on
her
husband.
Right. Her husband's on SmackDown. Right.
Yeah, I think it's good. She got a little rub from the big dogs, and I think it only is going to spell bigger things for her coming in.
Right. Right.
So my question next is, what is your opinion of Darth Shinsuke?
I love it. Absolutely love it. The music is something. This is what the Great Muta should have came out to, this music. Okay. I like that we're taking Shinsuke serious.
Oh,
now,
yes.
Not to say he wasn't taken serious before, but they've eliminated the sing-song, sing-along to his entrance music.
Yes.
And they've kind of blended that into this new Oriental beat fusion, however you want to call it. I love it. I'm so happy that they were able to get him, quote unquote, repackaged and back out there.
Yes.
When this match got announced, I'm not going to sit here and say, hey, I knew it all. There was no way Shinsuke was not going to win this match.
Right.
I like how the video thing has it's like a red moon, and it's like supposed to be the rising sun of Japan. I just a very good entrance package put together, a presentation. Face. He looks violent.
He does.
The stuff he does looks real. It's that good. And no rub, no nothing bad here for LA Knight. I feel bad for LA Knight because it just seems like the little engine that could ran out of steam, and there wasn't much more for him with this championship run that he had. Bummed for LA Knight, thrilled for Shinsuke Nakamura, and very excited to see where this goes for Shinsuke and this whole angle. This match probably, of the 5 matches, the least entertaining match, but it had to be one-sided for Nakamura to look impressive and to get this new Nakamura repackaging out there. So Absolutely. He had to be impressive. It had to be a beatdown of sorts. He had to land more offense than LA Knight. And I think the crowd was pleasantly surprised that Shinsuke won. I know I've been clamoring for it for years, and they blew it when he lost at WrestleMania to AJ Styles, and everybody knows that. They're trying to rewrite that wrong, and I don't think they'll ever rewrite it, but they're going in the right direction. They're going in the right direction with him, and I'm happy that he has something that doesn't look stupid, that doesn't look goofy, looks legit on him. The presentation's great, and the in-ring stuff is just going to get better. So I absolutely love this repackaging of Shinsuke Nakamura.
And I think it's a step in the right direction because, like I was saying, he never really recovered from Nutshot Mania, in my opinion.
No, he kind of went to the island of relativity. He just wasn't. They had nothing for him. So, I loved it. I loved when he came out. It was quiet. Nobody said anything. Everybody knew who it was, but nobody said anything. Everybody was taking it in. And that's good. That's good. I loved it. What did you think of what you're calling Darth Nakamura?
Well, I mean, I can make parallels to Anakin Skywalker from Revenge of the Sith all day because it's the same outfit, the same look. But no, you hit the nail on the head. He is dominant. He is dastardly, and everything he does looks just absolutely harsh and realistic. I mean, I've always felt the Kinshasa was a move that looked more believable than some other moves because of the force and the way that he pulls it off. That Kinshasa is a killer.
Yep.
But with this backing of, I guess, Dark Shinsuke, I'll say, with Triple H at the helm now, and finally shaking off the stench of WrestleMania from a few years ago, I think this is a step in the right direction, and I'm all in. I want to see what happens next.
I do too. I'm very interested to see what's next for LA Knight as well. Does he get another crack at his title? What are they going to do with him? But very interested in what they're going to do with Shinsuke.
Yeah. I mean, what do you see next for LA Knight? Let's be honest.
You know what? I don't know if I hope he doesn't go back, to the maximum male model thing and how far he's come from that from SummerSlam. The first show we ever, episode 1, SummerSlam 2022, the first show we ever reviewed on here. And a long way from that. What's next for him? I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know. I have not watched SmackDown in a couple weeks. I've caught in the spoilers and what's going on. So I don't know. I don't know if they're going to latch him onto somebody and make a tag team. I don't know if he's going to be, get a rematch with Nakamura down the road. I would think maybe that's probably first things first, do that. But after that, man, your guess is as good as mine. I could not tell you where LA Knight's going to end up.
I mean, I would love to see some big things happen for him, but I don't know where to place him in the mix. I tell you what I would love. I would love to see an Andrade Shinsuke match.
Yeah, is Andrade face? I mean, what?
That'd be
a good dance partner for him, but I don't know, what's next for Andrade after the best of 7 he had with Melo. I don't know. There's a lot of up in the air to me on SmackDown than there is more on Raw. Things kind of maybe the undercard will shuffle out here as we head into Rumble, but I don't know. You're asking me some tough questions. I can't even give you the answer to, what's next for LA Knight. No clue. None whatsoever.
I hope he continues his momentum, and I really hope that Shinsuke, they don't drop the ball with him like was done many years ago at this point.
Right.
We talked about Shinsuke being dominant. You want to talk about a beast in the ring. Braun Breaker.
Does he have new entrance music again?
I think so.
Is this the third new music he's had? I mean, hey, WWE, bring back Jim Johnson. This Def Jam or this Def Rebel crap.
I don't think it's Def Rebel anymore. I think they moved away from them, but I can't remember who it is.
Get Jim Johnson back. Get Jim Johnson back, okay? You got enough money. TKO, bring him back. I mean, they want Braun Breaker to be this breakout face star now because people can get behind him. The whole woo, 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 the whole dog barking thing. They love that. Give us some music so we can identify him. You're changing music on him every damn week, and we don't know what's what. But that's the first thing I noticed when he came out. I'm like, he's got new music. That's the first thing that I thought of.
Understandably so. I mean, like you said, they're changing his music quite a bit. Find something that sticks, find something that fits, and find something that sticks. The one thing going into this match that I will say, I'm disappointed for Sheamus. I'm not. The right person won this match, but I do want to see Sheamus claim that Intercontinental Championship before he calls it quits. I do want to see him go out of this as a Grand Slam champion is what I'm trying to say.
I'm sure he will. That false finish where Sheamus had Braun Breaker pinned and Ludwig Kaiser pulled the ref out and you didn't see where Kaiser was and you didn't think anybody was around. You thought he was inhabilitated and he pulled that ref out before the 3 count. I was like, damn, this match is good. And it was good. These 3 could run it back again.
I agree.
I absolutely love it. I told someone last night, I would love these 3 to be the first 3 in the Royal Rumble.
Oh.
Started off with Sheamus, started off with Ludwig Kaiser, and then Braun Breaker gets his monster pop at 3. These 3 can have their moment together before moving on. But this match was amazing. It was amazing, CZ.
I agree.
It may be the best match on the card. It may or may not be.
It's definitely the best non-War Games match on the card.
It was excellent. It was excellent. All three of these guys are great. Ludwig Kaiser has really hit his stride.
He's a star.
Fits in perfectly to this, man. He's a dude, he's just the smirk. You want to beat him up, and then you realize he's real life with Tiffany Stratton, and you just want to beat the crap out of him because, dude, you're with Tiffany Stratton. So I love this match. I love Sheamus. I loved how Ludwig was laying in the shillelagh shots, nice and stiff. Braun Breaker looked, all three guys. Bravo. This match was amazing. This match was amazing and may be a top 10 match for WWE this year. It was awesome. Loved it, man. Can't say enough good things about the Intercontinental Triple Threat match. Triple Threat matches can go one of two ways. They can be really shitty and really bad, or they can be like this was at Survivor Series with Ludwig Kaiser, with Sheamus, and with Braun Breaker. These three guys, like, they all can work together, man. They all have this ability to feed off each other, and it's believable, and it's good. And there never was a lacking moment here. Like, when Sheamus was down and it'd be Steiner and Ludwig Kaiser going at it, it'd be great. Like, there was no dead weight or dead time in this match. Maybe the first match I go back and rewatch if I go back and rewatch the show. That's how much I loved this triple threat match. I hope enough people loved it too, man. I hope it gets the love because I thought it was damn near perfection.
Hey, tell us your opinion if you're watching or if you're listening after the fact. Leave a comment, like, share, subscribe. Yeah, tell us what you think about this match and the Survivor Series overall. Nick, we're going to take a quick timeout before we just breeze through the whole card because we're on a roll. But we gotta pay our dues to the other shows on the network, and of course we've got to have our moment to focus coming up right after this break. We'll be right back. You're tuned into Card Subject to Change, the podcast by the fans for the fans, powered by Lopez Pizza, built by Durham Remodeling, colored by Ryan Allison Tattoo, and protected by Jared Zook of Country Financial. Stay with us here. See you on the other side.
For frequency's sake, has you covered on all things sports. From the squared circle to the hardwood and the gridiron to the speedway, we've got something for everyone. Walk down the aisle with the boys from Card Subject to Change every Sunday as they take a deep dive into everything pro wrestling. Head on over to the hardwood with Doug Green and Watching the W each week for all the news from the WNBA. Want more insight from Pit Row? Check out the Green, White, and Checkered podcast where they give their insight on everything happening on and off the track. Need your gambling fix? We've got you there. Dan Hancock and Gotham Gambling will help you cover the spread with the Golden Ticket Show. Football more your style? Explore the waters of NFL DFS with DFS Deep Dive with Brian Craighead and Jordan Kernan each week. More into the science portion of the game? The Professor John Bush and Dennis Michelson take you into their science lab and dissect your week in the data lab. Need to know who to start last minute? The network's flagship show, For Fantasy's Sake, is here in a pinch. The fellas come to you live every football Sunday from 10 to 11:30 Central with the week's best DFS, gambling, and lineup advice. And wrap up your Sundays with Joe Winkle and Nick Brinks as they come to you live with educated ignorance looking at all the day's action. Not enough football on Sunday? Not a problem. Kick your feet up at lunch on Monday and slip into the football lounge with Mark and Dan while they look at the week that was in news, notes, and more. For frequency's sake, you know what we mean.
Welcome back to the show.
Welcome back to the show. Oh, man.
Welcome back here to Card Subject to Change, the podcast by the fan for the fan. Of course, I'm never wrong, Nick Bull, joined by my tag team partner, the Wizard CZ. And Wiz, we have a moment of focus here, but we need to pay particular attention to this one, I'm told.
Yes. Before I toss things over to our good friend JT Energy, want to preface this. We have our second annual December I Try Not to Remember pay-per-view review. We did not call it that last year. Kudos to JT Energy for coming up with the name of the episode, and it will continue on. But we picked 6 shows.
Wiz, is it fair to say this is our version of the ugly sweater Christmas party?
Oh, 100%.
Okay. Yep, I thought so too. I just wanted to put it out there.
Now, I'll be honest, when I sent the shows over to JT, he's going to randomize things and pick one for us.
Yep.
When I sent the shows over to JT, I made an error. I'm human. I make mistakes. We had intended to have Super Clash 3, but instead I put Super Brawl 3. That was one of the 6. I'm going to name the other 6, and we'll see. JT's going to let us focus, and we'll see what he picks. But the other shows on our list are King of the Ring 95, Heroes of Wrestling, which you can find on YouTube. Go check it out. Nick has watched this. I have not yet. But definitely go check this out because I intend to watch it soon. Whether we review it this year or not, I intend to watch it soon. And you can tell by Nick's reaction that it's a whopper of a show. It's a doozy.
It is.
We have WCW New Blood Rising. Of course, we had to get a 2000 WCW pay-per-view in there because, I mean, take your pick. 2000 for WCW was just awful. Awful. Rounding out the list are Vengeance 2007 and Uncensored from 1996. So I'm excited. I'll be honest, I've watched the video. Nick, I'm not going to spoil it for you. I'm going to let you be surprised.
Yeah, I don't know. CZ knows, and I did not want to know. I wanted to be surprised with the rest of y'all.
But we're going to toss things over to our good friend and colleague, JT Energy, with his moment of focus.
Welcome to a moment of focus with the feline phenom, JT Energy. And this week, the guys at the Card Subject to Change podcast, they're reviewing WWE Survivor Series. War Games. Last night, men and women went to war inside the steel cage. But that's not what we're focusing on. This week, we're focusing on putting a little luck, a little bit of chance into our lives. And they've given me the power to put a little chance into what they'll be reviewing in the future. So let's cut to exactly what we're going to be lucky enough to see next month. It looks like 1995 has come back into play. King of the Ring. Next month, this month, it's December. We'll be reviewing King of the Ring 1995. December, I wish I didn't remember. But don't forget, put a little bit of chance into your own life and see what happens. This has been a moment of focus with the feline phenom, JT Energy.
Nick, I bet you never thought that at the 1st of December we were going to spin the wheel and make a deal like it's Halloween Havoc, but
all hail King Mabel.
Hey, he's just a man on a mission.
Oh my God. Oh man, when that came up, all I could think about was the purple and gold of King Mabel. Oh. Man, it's going to be a rough one. But I can't. Hey, it's got to be better than December to Dismember. It's got to be better than that crap.
I mean, we just kind of ripped the Band-Aid off last year with December to Dismember, didn't we? I mean, that is widely considered the absolute worst pay-per-view in existence.
Well, we definitely followed it up with and I'll tell you what, it's been quite a while since I've watched King of the Ring 95. I mean, years. So this is going to be fun. It's going to be fun. We'll get through it, and we want you to get through it with us. If you want to go ahead and do your homework for next month, King of the Ring 1995 is what we'll be reviewing for our December, I don't want to remember, a.k.a. the Card Subject to Change Ugly Sweater Party.
And that will be the Sunday before Christmas. That is our Christmas tradition.
Yep.
Always want to give a shout out to our good friend JT Energy. You can find him if you are local this weekend at SCW Pro's Seasons Beatings.
Yep.
He may have been in a good mood in that video, but Nick, I have a feeling he's going to try and rip Studwell's eyes out, scratch his eyes out.
I'd be careful if I was ripped.
I would too.
The holidays invoke a lot of different emotions, and with JT, you never know. And the impression I'm getting with ripped in JT is that maybe the warnings from JT have fallen upon deaf ears, and JT is here to let you know that he's going to rip Rip's eyes out.
Ripped, if you are listening, watching, or following, send us a video. Let us know your thoughts about what exactly JT Energy, how you feel about all this. Someone else, another good friend of the podcast here that you can see at Seasons Beatings this weekend, been asked to share a special happy birthday to one Jared Thumb, good friend of the podcast, from not just you and me, Nick, but from JT Energy, who sent us this. He is a father, a son, and a survivor. So right there, Jared, if you're watching, happy birthday. Don't kill the messenger, please.
Yeah, that's that. We did not make that. Do not kill the messenger. That is from your very good friend, JT Energy. JT helps us out here each week. So we thought, hey, we'd help out with a birthday message, but don't shoot the messenger. Happy birthday to Jared Thumb. Big time friend of the show. That is from your friend JT.
But we wish you a happy birthday as well, Nick. And
absolutely.
Oh man, I'm excited, man. I'm jazzed. We're talking about one of the better outings from WWE, in my opinion, this year. We're going into December knowing that we're going to try not to remember, but be forced to remember King of the Ring 95. Oh boy, where do we go from here? I mean, we got 2 matches to talk about.
We still got 2 matches to talk about. Let's hop back in because I really wanted to. I know I raved about that triple threat, and everybody's going to be like, oh, it's a Gunther match. Here comes Never Wrong bragging about Gunther. Yep, I'm going to brag about this match because it was really good. Gunther, Damian Priest are tremendous dance partners. I hope this is something that seems to continue because I think they complement each other very well. Absolutely loved the ring psychology in this match.
Yes.
How Gunther worked on Priest's, I want to say it was Priest's left arm, just off the top of my head. Priest's left arm, that whole match. And they told a story around that arm that Gunther was focusing on and how Damian couldn't do anything, couldn't fight back regular, couldn't do his power moves. When he did those power moves, it took it out of him and he couldn't go pin Gunther. It was marvelous. And here again, we've got a match with Gunther. And it wasn't a slap fest. There weren't a lot of chops. This guy's showing you why he is, in my opinion, one of the top 5 wrestlers on the planet. The story told in this match, I'll say this. If he's not the wrestler of the year, he's second. Okay? Tell me a bad match he's had. I'll hang up and listen. He hasn't this year. And I think he's got the universal respect from the majority of wrestling fans. I'm not saying majority of wrestling fans love him. They're his favorite. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is people don't say bad stuff about him because they respect him because he takes the business seriously. He's good at what he does. He always puts on great matches. And this body transformation he's had from, Chubby Walter to glowed out Gunther is amazing. And I think people have gotten behind him, whether they're fans of his face, him being a heel, whatever, regardless. There's a universal respect for Gunther, and I think there's that universal respect for Damian Priest as well, knowing that he struggled. He was homeless. He was chasing his dream. But both these guys love the business. Both these guys take the business seriously. Both these guys are throwbacks to older guys. I made the comment last night to a friend. Gunther is probably 40 or 50 years too early. If Gunther was in the NWA, we'd be talking about him like we talk about Flair, Funk, Rhodes, Race. Gunther would be in that conversation. He would feed off those guys so well. And yeah, I know. It's a Gunther gush fest on here. I don't care. He's my favorite wrestler in WWE right now. But I'm here to tell you that psychology last night with Damian Priest, and I know it takes two to tango. Damian Priest, my kudos to him too. I think he's had an unbelievable year. These are two guys that you could say are have had an MVP type year for WWE. They could be in the argument with the matches, the stories, the high profile encounters. Yeah, I love this match. I'll let you talk about it now that I'm done gushing, but I'll let you have the mic.
So if you are looking for a Christmas present for Never Wrong Nick Bull, if you find out that Gunther does cameo videos, there you go. Have Gunther send Nick a personalized message, and we'll need to mop up the floor afterwards.
Just full of jokes here, aren't you?
Well, yeah, wait till we get to the kick out. But you already know that joke.
It's all right. But what'd you think about this match?
Man, these two I could watch all damn day. I said that I said that about who did I say that? I said that about Breaker, Sheamus, and Ludwig too.
Yep.
And there was a match on the TNA. I watched Turning Point as well. There was a match that I felt Jordan Grace and Masha Slamovich I could watch those two go all day. But no, these two put on a beautifully put together match, and I'd love to know who produced this. I want to know the producer. I'm gonna go research that and see if I can find who was the brains behind this, because kudos to them. And was this a Michael PSA's? Does it have his signature on it, Nick? Do you think?
I don't know. I don't know if it's Michael Hayes or a Joseph Park. Joseph Park was the first name that I came to mind, but who knows? I don't know who the producer was, but they did a tremendous job. They need to be kudoed and recognized, because it was a really good match. And you know what? I didn't care about Finn Balor getting involved. No. And here's why. Finn Balor is part of this story. This started back at SummerSlam when Finn Balor made his decision to turn on Damian Priest, costing Damian Priest the title that Gunther now holds. Okay? I loved that moment in the match last night where Balor comes down. He does the coup de grace to the outside on Damian Priest. And Gunther comes around the corner and just kicks Finn Balor in the face.
Kicks his head off.
Get out of my way. You're in my way. Get out of my business. I loved that. We talked about a triple threat match. The triple threat match earlier with Ludwig and Sheamus and with Braun Breaker. You could throw Finn Balor in with these two guys, and I think it would be magic. Because, like it or not, Finn's rooted in this story. He was there when Gunther beat Damian for the title. He was there when Gunther beat Damian again. This time he got his head taken off. I wonder if maybe Finn calls out Gunther now, and Damian Priest gets involved, and we run it back as a triple threat. I don't know, but I didn't mind Finn Balor's involvement. Didn't ruin it for me one bit, and just I thought added to this match.
Oh, completely. I thought that moment just made it even better, especially Gunther's reaction to Priest's or to Balor's involvement with Priest. I mean, he clocked him. He just came in and get the hell out of my match.
Just kicked him out. Get the hell out of here. Get the hell out. And that was a get the hell out of my match kick, and that's what we got to see. So, yeah, I'm definitely going back to watch that match again. Like I said, I watched it late last night. I loved it. I loved the show from top to bottom. But we got one more match to discuss.
And talk about a tale of two cities here. We talked about the hodgepodge of talent in the women's match. Now we've got two strong, solid teams. with an outsider an outsider on each of them. However, on the new Bloodline side, I think Bronson Reed fits right in.
I think he does too. He's got the look, right? He just fits right in. Like, yeah, he looked good in this match. He looked good with them. I read this morning that when the face team, the OG Bloodline, was coming out, and when Punk came out and just went right over to the shark cage and just pie-faced Bronson Reed, that was great. And it was unscripted. He went off script there. That wasn't supposed to happen. Punk doing that just added gasoline to the fire, right?
Absolutely.
When Punk came over to that cage and like got in their faces and pie faced them, like they were jumping around there like animals, right? Like Jacob Fatu's climbing the cage like I want him. When Roman Reigns came out and went over to the cage, they're all standing there watching him. Like they're not climbing the cage. They're not trying to get to him. They're all standing there and watching. Like, I just love the diversity there. Love the behavior between Punk and Roman Reigns in the shark cage, right? We knew there would be some drama. And I liked it. I liked the callback to 2 War Games ago, if you remember. It was, or was it last year? No, it was 2 War Games ago when Sammy was with the Bloodline and kind of gave them Kevin Owens to beat down, right?
Yeah, 2 years ago.
Roman was in the cage and the door opened 2 years ago. Solo was ranting and raring to go. Roman puts his hand in front of Solo and goes, "No, Sammy, you go." Like, it was kind of a callback to that, and I really enjoyed that. I thought that one 2 years ago was really good, and this one last night too was excellent. But just the interactions in the shark cage area, the staging area there between the two teams, what was going on with Roman and CM Punk in their cage, I thought was just excellent. Well done by everybody involved.
Oh, 100%. This was fantastic. This was one of the better War Games matches, I think, that they've ever put on.
I agree.
The fact that Solo locked Roman out of the cage when he was before he could make his entrance, magic. Make Roman crawl up the side of the cage to get in. CM Punk, obviously the odd man out, but he makes sense. Going into this match, before we knew who the 5th person on the OG Bloodlines team was going to be, the signs for me were pointing towards Seth Rollins, even though he was adamant about not working with Roman Reigns. But with Bronson, with the feud between him and Bronson Reed, that's where I thought they were going. Punk makes more sense because of his former alliance with the Wise Man, with Paul Heyman.
It leaves the opportunity to tell so many different stories, right? I mean, I personally loved the Punk Jacob Fatu interactions in this match. Jacob Fatu is not of this world. He is on another level right now. Maybe the absolute total package when it comes to moveset, size, violence, believability. Man, his eyes really tell a story when he's doing something. Like, he's got the best facial expressions. I thought he absolutely shined last night. I thought he got hurt at the end of the match. Kind of held one of his knees, and I'm like, oh no, I hope he's not hurt. I know Bronson Reed hurt his ankles with that high spot that he took, the high tsunami splash from the top of the cage onto the table. I know he got hurt, but he's going to be off TV for a few weeks. But I hope Jacob Fatu's is not severe, that he's going to be off TV.
I agree.
Our buddy Stryker here letting us know, hey, best podcast in the Midwest, man. We like to think that too, but it means a lot more coming from you. We appreciate that. He had a question here. He needs to know something with you guys. Was it just me, or was it odd they acted like Roman never climbed a steel cage? You know what? I'm going to tell you this, Stryker. I thought it was kind of a cool moment because when was the last time we seen Roman do something like this? They locked him out of the cage, so he had to find another way in, right? I mean, when was the last time we seen Roman Reigns straddled on top of a cage or a cell? When was the last time? I mean, it's been quite a while. And I wanted to take it back to a moment in the Gunther Damian Priest match. Later in that match, those two went up to the top ropes for a high-risk maneuver. And I'm saying to myself, man, this is the first time they've been up on the ropes the whole match. This kind of means a little more because they haven't done it yet. And both these guys typically aren't guys that do something off the top rope. So it meant a little more. So they were sowing seeds into their match of their storytelling and their psychology of doing stuff that has purpose. Doing stuff for when doing stuff, there's reason behind it. And that was great here. I love seeing Roman Reigns, you know, he wants this fight. He wants to get his hands on those guys. He's got to go the extra mile, and he's got to climb that into that cage to do it. He can't just walk right in. I thought that was a really good touch. I really did.
And I want to ask you, Nick, I was talking with Stryker earlier today through text. You know, we both were speculating what is next with this Bloodline story. I know where my opinion is. I want to hear yours first.
Well, what's next? I think Roman's got to go through Solo to get the necklace back, right? I think that has to be done.
Does that get stretched out to Mania?
I don't know if it gets stretched out to Mania because I think Punk's going to get woven in at some point. You heard after the match, him and Heyman hugging. Hey, when I want that, you know, I did you a favor. Now I want that favor. I'll call when I want that favor. So we're planting the seeds there. I don't know about the new Bloodline. They're not done.
No, not by long. Ultimately, Roman has to get
that's a good question. I don't know. I still think there's some stuff to be told there. I just don't know where they're going to go next. And it's kind of exciting. It's kind of exciting as a wrestling fan that this storyline's been going on for 2-3 years now.
4.
Is still good. And we don't know where it's going to go. And it's exciting because we haven't seen, you know, Jacob Fatu, Roman Reigns. We haven't seen all these different matches. You know, we're going to get the Usos against the Gorillas of Destiny. Are we going to get CM Punk, Jacob Fatu? Are we going to get Solo Jacob Fatu? Are we going to get, Solo CM Punk? We're going to get Solo Roman. I don't know. It's exciting though. It's exciting that there's all these different possibilities and we don't know instead of being bored and be able to predict it. So it's good. It's a good time to be a wrestling fan.
It really is. And we've said that quite a bit over the last year or two. I want to throw this. So my thought process is that is Roman and Solo's Mania match.
You think Roman and Solo is Mania?
I do.
Okay.
I think if the way things are playing out in my head, we're going to see Cody and The Rock at Mania. For the time.
I believe that too. I can get behind that. I think Cody and The Rock is happening.
The reason I think that this goes to Mania is because it'll mean more. Should Roman win back the Ulafala, his tribal necklace, at Mania, I think it would mean more if that match happened there, whether Solo comes out the winner and is the tribal chief moving forward, or whether Roman gets his title back.
I think it makes sense. I think it makes sense. That's fine.
I did read online. So before we kind of wrap things up, Stryker and I talked about this also. I also read online a theory as to why, but it felt like as brilliant as this pay-per-view was, it felt like there was something missing. Like something was supposed to happen that didn't, or something. It just felt like there was an element that wasn't there. And I'm going to tell you, I'm giving this pay-per-view an A, a straight A for me. This was a fantastic effort, but I was expecting there to be some kind of turn or some kind of controversy at the end of that War Games match to close the night.
Well, sure you were, because it happened last year, right?
For sure.
We got that big CM Punk return last. I think everybody kind of thought new bloodline, old bloodline. Rock finished up Moana 2. He's going to be there. And I'm not going to lie, in the back of my mind, I thought maybe we'd see The Rock. But I'm telling you, at the end of that War Games match, I didn't feel like I needed anything else. I thought the show was fulfilling enough. I know we ultimately think there's going to be a big surprise or giveaway at the end of each of these pay-per-views. And I thought WWE maybe was coy about it. And they got the big surprise last year. Let's just give them a really good wrestling show tonight. And that's what they did. Now we can build towards Rumble. I'm just going to throw this out there. Is this the best year in WWE history? Look at the shows. Look at the money they're making. Look at the crowds. Look at the move to Netflix. An amazing year of shows. Is this the best year of WWE we've had in some time?
I don't find fault in that. I don't know that I can disagree. And buckle your seatbelts up, boys, because it's only going to get better, because we're about to enter the wild times. We're about to enter the hardest hitting time for the WWE all year. We're building for Rumble, and then Rumble is that start to WrestleMania season, the road to WrestleMania. Add on top of that the move to Netflix for Raw, SmackDown and Raw both being 3 hours.
We've weathered the storm. We're getting through this cold winter together, and WrestleMania season is around the corner. And in WWE, this is their last pay-per-view of the year, if I'm not mistaken, right, CZ?
Correct.
I mean, I know NXT, we get Deadline next week, and we'll talk about that at some point, but this was the last offering, and what a year of pay-per-views. What a year. Think about the shows that we reviewed. Think about
Nick's got a burglar.
Think about the shows. Think about the shows this year. Just think about the shows that we've gotten. Maybe one
effort.
Maybe one stinker. Maybe one stinker. Maybe.
Yeah.
And that could be Crown Jewel.
And even that, I gave that a passing grade. That was a C minus.
Yeah, I gave it a passing grade too. So what a fantastic year of shows, and it's only going to get better. I cannot wait to see what 2025 gives us. I can't wait for the Royal Rumble. Kind of set the table for WrestleMania, and then boom, we're in WrestleMania season before we know it. So once this road WrestleMania gets kicked off, you know that the winter days are shorter and the spring is on the horizon.
Amen to that. Nick, I've already given my letter grade. I threw that out there. What do you grade this pay-per-view? This PLE?
A. Very good A. Top to bottom. You had one match that, if you're looking at ratings, may not have been the highest rated match. And I'm talking about Shinsuke Nakamura and LA Knight. Didn't need to be. Shinsuke needed to be dominant. He needed to get over with this new thing, and he did. Both War Games matches delivered. The triple threat match, unbelievable. Gunther, Damian Priest, I mean, just great. Top to bottom. This, you want to talk about best pay-per-views of the year, this has to be clumped in with WrestleMania and SummerSlam for WWE.
For sure, without a doubt.
It's just as good. Only 5 matches, but it's just as good. Absolutely loved Survivor Series. A.
I couldn't agree more. Now, one final question, then we'll wrap up. You've said to me that you don't feel Survivor Series is one of the big, strong pay-per-views of WWE. Has this redeemed it for you?
You know what? I know Survivor Series in name is one of the big 4. And the Survivor Series concept, once upon a time, was a big deal because you didn't have all this programming and all these TV shows, and you never had all these chances to see these guys team up. I used to love the random Survivor Series teams. I used to love the elimination matches. But I think as time goes on, people don't care about those anymore. They've seen people team up, and it's just not as a big deal anymore. As long as War Games is connected with Survivor Series, I think it can be considered as one of the big four. Although in recent years, Money in the Bank has become that show that would replace Survivor Series for me if you're going to take out a show of the big four. But this Survivor Series proves it delivered. It proves it belongs. War Games matches or not. If the War Games is part of it every year, I think you have to count it as one of the big four.
I think you're right. Nick, that's gonna wrap things up for this episode of Card Subject to Change. We will be back midweek for the kickout. But for my tag team partner, one half of the For Frequency's Sake Podcast Network, tag team champions of the world, never wrong, Nick Bull, I am the Wizard CZ. We are Card Subject to Change, the podcast by the fan for the fan, powered by Lopez Pizza, built by Durham Remodeling, colored by Ryan Allison Tattoo, and protected by Jared Zook of Country Financial. We will see you right here next week on Card Subject to Change and midweek for the kickout.
This has been a For Frequency's Sake Podcast Network production. For more great content, subscribe to For Frequency's Sake on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter.